Hello.
Hi! Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello! How are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm kind of nervous.
It's okay.
um, I don't know where
What
to
did?
start.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you want to go over any like previous draft stuff, or did you want to do a new one, or what's the plan?
I didn't even think that far ahead. Holy shit. Okay. I think I should have kept in mind some that I wanted to do. Okay, let's start with that. I'm pretty sure I could find something on 17 lands.
Okay.
How you been? What are your thoughts on this format so far?
It's the best.
The
I like
best?
it. Yeah.
Did you play much of MH3 by chance?
Yeah, I didn't play a lot on Arena, but I played a decent amount on MTGO.
Okay, how do
And
you feel compared to this one?
I like this. Like this is yeah, really actually probably my favorite format in a long time. But I did like MH3. I thought it was good.
Change 17 lines. What about this one in particular makes you like it so much more?
I feel like most of the color pairs are pretty playable, and then also I feel like you kind of get rewarded for building good decks a lot because some formats you just play like good cards and then like you try and play well, but I feel like you can build pretty good decks in this format with then like some of the cards that are not good in some archetypes are good in other ones, which I like that about formats usually.
Yeah, I would agree actually. Um, sheesh. Which one was this one? Um, oh my God, yeah, not let's not look at these because I did not do well there. And it wasn't like, oh, I can learn from it. It was literally me just punting because I wasn't even like able to put literally one plus one together.
Been there. Yep.
um. Okay, so this one just seemed all right. There was like some good losses and some not so much. But I couldn't really remember anything in particular that I wanted.
Okay.
Well, maybe not this one either. Sorry. Please,
No, you're all
please put
good.
up with me. I
All good.
appreciate it. Which one was this one? Okay. Mm. Oh, you know what? You're probably like really good at the drafting portion too, obviously. So I think I want to go over that too. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, so JJohn is a friend. He's really smart. He's really good at magic. And he's a really good teacher. So you guys are in for a treat. I picked this one first.
Cool.
Cool.
Um, so from this pack, like what stands out to me is um, I think the pick would pretty clearly be between the one you picked, the Razorkin something or other, and the White Rare. Are probably the two best cards by a decent enough margin, and that white uncommon door card or whatever is like decent, and then the blue green one is quite good if you're blue green. Um, and I like your pick here. I think it's yeah between that one and the rare. And if you're gonna pick this one, it has the advantage that there's no you're not passing any red stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and so you know if you can cut red decently, even if it's not open that much coming from the left or from the right, I guess, but passing to the left, then you can, with a pretty high likelihood, guarantee that you get some red cards going back the other direction. Whereas, like, if you take a white card here and you pass other good white cards, then it's a little harder to do that. So, no, I like the pick. It looks good.
Also, I was actually thinking that, so I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
But tell me about Toby because for some reason, I don't. Okay, I guess just tell me why Toby is good.
Okay. So right off the bat, imagine it was just a 3 mana 4/4. That already would be pretty good stats, right? Because if it was just straight up a 3 mana 4/4, then you could block, you could attack, whatever, and it's better than most of the things you get at 3 mana. Like a decent stat line for a 3-drop usually is like 3 mana 3/3, or if you have like some of the green ones that are a little buffer, get like 3 mana 3/4s. So 3 mana 4/4 is already pretty good, and making 2 bodies is quite good. Um, oh, I guess on the stream they said they don't see the pics, so I don't know
Oh shit,
if you
I'm
wanted
sorry,
to
guys.
load up the 17
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm a terrible streamer.
Nah, it's just the technology. It's tricky.
Dude, I don't have any emojis. I made one emoji in the last 2 years. So, okay, I have to browser. Oh no, never mind, that's not it. No, that's not it either. Oh. But while I do this, I guess I understand that people think Toby is good because it's like another body and like it's 2 bodies and it's pretty powerful. But then like the issue I have with it is that like that extra like quote unquote powerful body with good stats like can't actually block or attack. So it's kind of like whatever to me.
Okay, well, so think about it this way. If you're playing, so let's break it down by archetype. If you're playing white red, you probably have like 1-drops and 2-drops and stuff that you want to attack with anyways. And then a 4/4 is always going to be able to attack with those, because it's bigger than everything else that comes down on the same turn.
Wait, say that again?
Okay. I would say, so if we break it down by archetype, so let's look at like the different color pairs. So starting with, let's say, white red as an example, you probably are going to have a bunch of like 1 and 2-drop creatures that you want to be attacking with already kind of incidentally, and you have combat tricks that make your attacks good. So if you're playing white red, you just have a 4/4, you're probably attacking anyways, and because its stats are bigger than everything else at that mana cost, you're going to be able to attack through mostly anything that your opponent plays anyways, so it'll be good aggressively.
Oh,
Right.
assuming you played on curve.
Yeah, assuming you played on curve. And like, let's say you are playing like white-blue. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can play white-blue in this format, I think. But pretty much no matter what you're doing, you'll either have a bunch of 1/1 bodies around that you can just use to block with this 4/4 and then turn them into good blocks. Or you're going to also, there's like a version of white-blue that's like a little more aggressive as well. And so you might still be attacking anyways. So I think in white-blue, then you can argue that, okay, this card should be good still. And then if we go white-black, well, in white-black, you often have things like the Manifest Red Rats, the 2 mana 1/1s. And you have things like the 1 mana 1/1 enchant thing that when it dies, ping something. So you have things that already interact well in combat that you don't mind pairing with the 4/4 to block with, much less you can just block with the Toby itself and the 4/4 and probably have a profitable block in most scenarios. So with all that in mind, I think you're looking at a card that's good in most of the archetypes. Green-white, I usually stay away from in this format. That's one of the color pairs that I'm less excited about. But even then, just having a big body works well with the green cards that I forget all the names, but the 2 mana monstrous something, it like is deals damage based on the creature's power. Right? So having a 3 mana 4/4 means that your removal spells are going to kill like everything now. And you probably want to be attacking in white green anyways if you're doing either the survival thing or if you if you have like combat tricks to enable the survival thing. All those things are reasons why attacking would be good. So if you break it down by color pair, even though yes, it's a drawback, like if it was just a vanilla 4/4, it would be better than it currently is. It's really not as big of a drawback as it may seem. If it didn't come with a 1/1 body, like imagine Toby was just a 4/4 that said you can't attack or block without something else, it would be significantly worse. But because it comes with the body, you can play it and you have the ability to block immediately, and you have a creature that's bigger than everything else they have. So you can always just have that as a block as well. And if they don't have a removal spell for it, then you're already doing quite well because most likely things won't be able to attack through it when it comes down.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think all of those things make sense, but for some reason I still don't like it.
Fair enough. Either way, the horde color that you're picking, I think, is quite good. So still no big deal. We're doing good.
Give me 1 second. Can you guys hear JJohn okay, or is he like, um, is the audio okay? I guess.
Ooh.
Okay, because I don't even like have him as like a sound source. He's actually just loud enough and my mic picks it up. So I'm wondering if that's gonna be like bad when I like save this as a file. Uh no, I think it should be okay because it records my voice. Oh god. Okay, sounds good. I'll just take that as it is. Okay. Thanks for this Wacky. Look, it's Wacky. Say hi to Wacky. Say hi to JJohn, Wacky.
Hello. I just saw Wacky over at Finite Stream, so yeah.
Alright, and then it was this one.
Um. Hmm. This pack kind of sucks a little bit.
Yeah.
I myself might be more inclined to go with the Glimmerlight.
Really?
I am not really a big fan of Most Valuable Slayer. I think that it's again it has its place that it's like playable in some decks, but in general it's not something I look to pick highly. I don't think it's like premier common or anything. On one hand, you can say it cuts red, but I don't think that we necessarily need to know that we're red. And the Glimmerlight goes well in a lot of different decks. It has like the enchantment kind of ETB for Eerie decks. And there are some, it's good in aggressive decks because the creature sizing is such that +1/+1 matters a decent amount in like a lot of matchups. So, I would be more inclined to Glimmerlight here. But, like the Most Valuable Slayer isn't like a disaster pick or anything like that. But I would go kind of the different direction.
Okay. Wait. I think this is hot shit. Why is it not hot shit?
Okay, so the body is understated a little bit. It's not a disaster, but 4 mana 2/4 like ground creature already is not like super great. It doesn't block that well against things that attack through it. And then what I would say is that it's less flexible because you kind of need certain cards to go with it to make it good. Like if you have the red 3-drop that is like must be blocked, and you're like have a few of those, then obviously Most Valuable Slayer gets really good because you can just make them chump block like every single turn. Um, but like if you just have like generic like creatures and you're trying to like attack through, there's no guarantee that like tapping out for Most Valuable Slayer is going to be good enough in general. So the way I think about picks early on in the draft is that the more flexible that they are, that is like a big boost regardless of like necessarily their power level. So Glimmerlight, I actually think is a better card than Most Valuable Slayer anyways, but it also has the added boost that since we're only 2 picks in, if you end up going into white red or you end up going into blue white or you go even into like white black, like Glimmerlight is playable in all of those decks. Whereas in order to make Most Valuable Slayer the best card it can be, you not only need to be red, obviously, but you also need specific cards to combo with it to maximize it. Whereas I think it's a lot easier to maximize Glimmerlight, and that's what makes it better in my opinion.
Oh, okay. And you don't think this is good?
No, I like Shard Mage's Rescue too, but Glimmerlight goes in more decks than Shard Mage's Rescue just because it's colorless,
Huh.
I think. And so I do think that Shard Mage's Rescue would be my second pick out of the pack if I were to pick amongst these.
Interesting. Um, so what you're trying to do then is stay like a little bit more open still.
Yeah, and it's a kind of a weird thing, and it changes by format. But you want to like, for me, I try and calibrate within each format, like how important it is to stay open or how important it is to commit. And the things that influence that are like how good is the card that you currently have, and how good are the rares in the format. Because if the rares are really bad, then staying open has less value, for example. But if the rares are really good in a format, then staying open means that if you open one in pack two, for example, and have the ability to move in, then your deck will be better by the end of the draft.
Okay.
So from this point, oh, sorry, you have a question about that, or does that like make sense, or?
No, it makes sense because you said essentially if you pick a rare that's really good, then you kind of try to move in that direction so that you can like maximize it. Since you're picking it from the very beginning, you can like sort of cater around that more. Um, but in like poopy sets, then you stay more open.
Well, actually, so the other direction, like if the rares in a set are bad, then you don't really have to stay open as much, because you're not giving up as much by being unable to pivot later, right? The advantage of being able to pivot later is that if you open like a really powerful card, you can just play it, because you've stayed open. So, but if there are no really powerful cards or there aren't many of them, then staying open becomes less valuable in your draft, because at that point, you're not going to get paid off for staying open as often because all the cards are kind of the same value.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me
I don't know
internalize
if that's
that.
like nonsense.
It's not nonsense. It's just like very different type of thinking.
Mhm.
Um, and I need to like rewire something. Hold up. Rewiring my brain. So it's hold up. Let me fucking type this out. That might help. No, this one. Oh, wait, is it because if it's like a poopy set, all the cards are poopy, so you like can ditch them? Is that what's going on?
Okay, so the idea is, if you think about what is the benefit of remaining open,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
The benefit is if you get past cards that are really good, or like that you open cards that are really good, then you have the option to then still play them because you stayed open. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, imagine instead that the cards in the set all do the same exact thing, right? In every color. Imagine it's like
Oh.
there aren't great cards and bad cards, they're all just kind of medium.
Okay.
Then you might sacrifice card quality to stay open, but then all of a sudden it becomes less good, because if you sacrifice card quality to stay open, but then you're unlikely to get cards that are better than the ones you could have picked already, then there's not really an advantage in doing that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Um. This pick.
Okay, I actually don't mind this pick at all. I think Optimistic Scavenger is like the best card in the pack, but I do think that there's an interesting component of like, we passed a very good white rare already, and you're not giving up that much to take the Dragonfire. You're staying open by doing so because you already have 2 red cards, and Dragonfire, well, I think worse than Scavenger, isn't so much worse that this is at all a bad pick. Some other stuff I consider too is that, like, let's say you take Scavenger, not only did you pass a Toby pack 1, you're now passing a Trapped in the Screen this pack, which means that very likely someone in the seat to your left or 2 seats to your left is going to be pretty entrenched in white. So even if you take like a white card here, it may not be guaranteed that you're going to be able to be past that much white in the next pack, which isn't always a reason to stay away from a color. But given that you have a good on-color option anyways, I don't mind the Dragonfire. I think either one would be a defensible pick here. So this one is kind of interesting. Can I hear your thoughts for picking the? I know this draft I think was probably not like today, or I don't know how long ago it was. But like, what are your thoughts with like the cards in the pack?
Um, I don't want to go blue-red because
Okay,
this
how come?
card would be really good. Because it's just a very difficult archetype, in my opinion, to make work.
Okay.
um, and this one wheels.
Hmm.
And I thought, when it comes to red, I like red with white, preferably,
Okay.
right?
Gotcha. Mhm.
But then I think at some point someone also told me like red green as well is good. So I don't know if I was gonna try to splash this or not later.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, that's what's really the thought process. Just I like Boros because
Mhm.
red is better in Boros in my opinion.
Okay, gotcha. No, I think the rescue is a fine pick here. Like, I think a lot of like picks, like one person may have a preference one way or the other, but very rarely are there picks that are like just subjectively like bad picks, especially early in the draft. I think it's definitely defensible to have this Shard Mage's rescue. I think the other consideration is you could maybe speculate on the Brood Spinner. What that deck would look like would be, yeah, like you said, like a red-green deck, and you can splash black because green has a lot of good fixing in this format. So that's one thought as well. And like you said, Glimmer Burst is a pretty decent card in general. And a nice thing to take a mental note of is that card draw usually pairs well with cheap removal. So you have a Dragonfire ready, so Glimmer Burst also has a little bit of a boost there. Because if you can kill people's creatures for cheap, and then you spend mana to draw cards, then in the long game you're going to be more ahead. Whereas if you don't have cheap removal and you're trying to draw cards, you can fall behind too much. So in general, that's a nice thing to keep track of. So I think any of the three picks, like Rescue, Brood Spinner, or Glimmer Burst, are defensible.
Oh, okay. Look, gotta type things. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
It's just like awkward silence while I'm trying to type.
It's okay.
Okay, let's see here.
Okay.
Yeah. I still refuse to move into blue.
That's okay. I mean, at this point, I don't think Glimmer Burst is good enough to move into your kind of third color now, and Turn Inside Out is a pretty good trick in the red decks.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this pick. I think this is probably the best pick here. Um,
Okay, Ham hates this. Or it doesn't, maybe he doesn't hate, he just really looks down on it.
on Turn Inside Out,
Yeah.
I think it's deck dependent. There are some decks that really don't want it, and some decks where it gets much better. In my opinion, like, okay, so do you know what's that fucking monkey called? There's like a one mana one artifact that
Percussion
pays to spin.
something.
Yeah, percussionist, I think. Um, so that card in particular combos very well with Turn Inside Out because it allows you to trade your one drop for another creature, and then you get your card back from the percussionist and you get a manifest. So like when you have the decks that have a lot of like one drops that generate value, if you have like a bunch of percussionists, then something like Turn Inside Out gets a lot better. Or if you're like red green, it can turn centipedes, which already have drawn you a card, into a tempo positive play because you can pump it, trade with a bigger thing, and then get a manifest back. So stuff like that. Cards that generate value on their own combo nicely with Turn Inside Out. But I think sometimes people put them in decks where it's not optimal, and I agree with, like, I'm sure Ham is putting them in the decks where they're good and not where they're not good, and I agree with him that it would be not great in some decks where people are playing it.
Oh my god! I'm gonna pay you for this. Holy shit, it just like blew my mind. I need to write this down! Wait, I need to calm down first, that was too exciting. I'm stupid. Okay.
What? No.
Breathe! Breathe! Okay.
Alright, and really quick too, I would make the point, like, just to process how this draft could have been different. Because like when you're just to convey the idea of being open, like back when we talked about it, pick 2 in the Glimmerlight pick. Imagine you took the most valuable Slayer. Instead of that, you took the Glimmerlight.
Oh!
Instead of the Dragonfire, you could have picked the opportunistic something or other, the 1-drop, the white one, that is the better card. And then you pick the Shard Mage's Rescue, which plays very well with that card because it's an enchantment and it protects it for 1 mana. And then here you could have taken, like, let's say the Glimmer Burst, and you could have been on your way to a very strong blue-white deck, as like an example.
What? Wait, what?
Like, so if you go back, like, to pick 2, for example.
Uh-huh.
Then, do you remember how we talked about maybe taking the Glimmerlight to stay open?
That was pick 2, yes, over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine, can you like go back to the
oh yeah, I
so
can.
we can keep track of how the so how the draft may have. So let's say from here, imagine you took the Glimmerlight, right? So you have a Glimmerlight in your pile, and you go to pick 3, and now you can take the Scavenger because you're not as entrenched in red because you took a colorless card, and the Scavenger and the Glimmerlight work really well together because it makes it an enchantment, right? So you take the Scavenger now, and then in pick 4. You go forward. Now you take the Shard Mage's Rescue, which plays very well with the Scavenger because it protects it for cheap and is an enchantment to trigger the Eerie. And then when you go to pick 5 now, so here, then you would have only had 1 red card, and you could have taken the Glimmer Burst, which I think would be a better card in this spot than Turn Inside Out, and you could have been well on your way to a potentially very strong blue-white deck, and still had outs to be blue-red maybe, or sorry, white-red maybe, if you end up playing the Horde Caller.
How am I supposed to know this?
Hmm?
How do I predict the future?
No, that's the point that I'm trying to make is you cannot predict what cards are coming to you.
So you stay open. That's why you took the okay, yeah, got it.
I'm just demonstrating that if the Glimmerlight pick had been different, then it opens you up to, if you're past a very strong card like the Scavenger, you have an easier time moving in because you haven't committed as hard to one particular color.
Okay. Damn. Okay, clown.
Okay. I think the clown is a defensible pick here.
What would you have picked otherwise?
It's for me. It's either between the clown and the infection, or infection. I think both of this is kind of close to me. The infection is good in the red-black decks because it gets a creature and also you can sacrifice it. And a lot of the good black cards want or require some sacrifice in red-black.
Mm-hmm.
And also the thought occurs to me that if we were in red-black, that Turn Inside Out gets better because you have targets that are good to cast on it, like the 1/1 rats and the percussionists. So trying to pick cards that like it's good to always have a plan when you make your pick. What the plan is to move in. Now, clown to me.
Plan to move in means what? Move into what?
Move in on like what if you're going to move in on a new color or you pick a car, any particular pick that you make. You want to try and have an idea, even early on, what kind of deck that's leading towards. And that's where experience in the format comes in. The more you've played and the more you've experienced, you can have an idea. Like, for example, let's say you don't like blue-red, right? Then you can say, okay, well, this card is a card that goes best in blue-red, but I don't really like blue-red. I don't think blue-red is good in the format. Then that can influence how you take your picks. So, like here, when I was talking about like infection, and I look at the cards in your list right now, and I say things like, oh, well, Turn Inside Out, that's pretty good in red-black too. So okay, that can be a good card in red-black, or some versions of red-black. But then you might say like, okay, I think that Clown works better in more of a red aggro list, and I already have a Slayer and a Horde Caller, and I think that's defensible too. So I think it's between those two, and it's really close. So I like the clown pick. It still seems good to me.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, so I only like listened to Cortical's like podcast like 2 days ago, the one before the last one. It talks exactly about like how these types of cards and like red black are actually really good.
Mhm.
And so, like, I've never cared for these enchantments before. There's also Cracked Skull, you know?
Yeah,
This one's obviously way better, but I was like paying them no attention at all. And it turns out it really works out well in this format.
yeah. In some versions, yes.
But
Cool.
how do you feel
Yeah,
about this card?
I'm not big on it. I think I will play it in just like aggressive white decks. If I don't have better two drops, like it's fine. But I'm not huge on it. I think in general, jump scare will be better in most white red decks than the cheerleader. But cheerleader is being a two drop, like it's like the safe pick because you already have like two 1 mana interaction tricks. And you really do need two drops in you if you're going to play more like a more aggressive deck. But I think when it's early enough, you could just take the better card, and I agree that jump scare's better. Um, Here, so this is interesting. I think we are not far enough into white that we have to be white red yet. All we have is a jump scare and the rescue, and this threats around every corner card is actually quite a good card. Um, so I would be taking that here and potentially being open to being red green because it is to me quite a signal to see that pick eight.
Yeah.
And even if that card was a blank that threats around every corner, I wouldn't really be taking the emerge from the cocoon in what's shaping up to be white red. I think we're pretty strongly in the direction of red at the moment. Um, so I would actually be just taking the land with the idea that specifically in some white red decks, you might want to splash like the red green fight spell, or like I think it's a bite spell, the one with the delirium one. You can pick those up late sometimes because they're gold cards. And so I don't think that the cocoon probably, at least we don't want it to make the end version of a white red deck, whereas the land might have some advantage for us. But that said, I would just speculate on green here and take the threats around every corner myself.
Okay, I see. I wasn't thinking darts around every corner very well because I was looking at like these two cards. And I guess in some way I was trying to maximize on that like low power type of creature thing, and I didn't think that fit well with this.
Okay. I mean, it does make a tutu, right? If you're talking about like triggering the clown because of the
Yeah,
manifest red.
yeah. I need to
Um,
think about that next.
yeah. These cards kind of suck. Um, yeah, this is not the best pack for us. I think this pick is like fine. I think you could take the living phone too, because you have, already a few targets in your deck. And you're not excited to play that card in most scenarios unless you have like a ghost dancer or something in your deck. Ghostly dancer? I don't know, whatever it's called. But unless you have like a really high priority target, you're not really excited to play that card. But it's playable, and I don't know, all the other cards kind of suck too, but I think the one you picked is like fine. It's okay. Yep, that seems like the pick. Just red card and just random garbage afterwards. Sure. Oh, Friendly Ghost is a nice pickup. That card is actually pretty good in white red, I think. Cool.
Wait, I think well, I guess out of the three, I would pick this one, but I think if I had other choices, I probably wouldn't put this in like, I wouldn't mind it, but I wouldn't want this to necessarily, it wouldn't make the cut, I guess.
Okay. I mean, okay, for comparison's sake, it's my opinion that in most white red decks, Friendly Ghost is decidedly better than like Most Valuable Slayer, for example. That's like my take
Wow.
on where those.
Wow. What is this? How dare you? Why is it more valuable than this?
Well, it's not more valuable because that one is the most valuable.
Oh,
But
that's right. My bad.
yeah, but well, okay. Firstly, it does actually apply more power when it comes down, right? It gives +2 on the turn you play it, and Most Valuable Slayer gives +1. So assuming that each of them enables an attack, that will either induce a chump or make it or let damage through. It pushes more damage when it enters, and it's a bigger threat afterwards because on a lot of boards, you're not going to have a like you might not have an attack, or if you do, what if you're playing blue white and they have a bunch of 1/1s clogging up the ground and you still want to push damage? The flying is very valuable. And the way that white red plays out, I think, a lot in this format is you kind of chip in for damage, and then at the end you either have a way to like push through the damage either by like jump scaring and flying over, or you have a big what's it called, Arabella, I think Arabella trigger, or something like that. So with that in mind, getting in like a just a chip 2 damage every turn or two with the friendly ghost, I think, is usually better than having the most valuable slayer in my.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Interesting. Because, like, I didn't think. Because it only comes down with the effect one time, right? And I thought most
uh,
valuable Slayer was really good because it was, like, essentially not just one turn, it was several turns. But then, like, you do make a good point that just by being flying, it probably chips in as much, if not more, damage than this would offer.
mhm.
Oh,
And yeah.
yeah. Okay. Fair point. Ugh. Damn it. Okay, I picked this one.
Okay. No, this card is quite good in some scenarios. I like it. I think it's between that and Percussionist. Um, Honestly, I don't know. The downside of the Needlehead is that obviously the double red is a little harder to cast. Um, I think maybe on average the Percussionist might even be a little bit better, but we are pretty heavy in red. So taking that into account, I think this pick is quite defensible. Seems very reasonable.
Ooh,
Yep, just the correct pick, I think, from where we're at.
it's so cute.
Yep. Probably the best card in the pack.
Yeah.
And it's on color, so sure. Well, yeah, that's a card. So I think we should take it and maybe look to be cutting white cards. Like that's one of the best rares in the set. And also, we're not passing anything really good to take that. Like if we were passing a really good, let's say red card, then you could maybe conceivably cut that. Or if our color distribution was more evenly split, so it would be a lot harder to play this black card, then we could maybe not take it. But given where we're at, I think you have to take that.
Yeah, I think at one point I realized, like, wait, my white cards suck. What am I doing? And then I
Yeah.
just switched. um, okay. I didn't pick this because I didn't like it again. I was contemplating this one, but I felt like I needed removal because I learned a lesson about not having enough removal.
Okay. Yeah, it seems fine. I'm with you.
Uh,
Um, hmm. So we're kind of in an interesting spot here. Because like on one hand, I think if we're planning to be like red black with a decent amount of removal, then the clown gets worse
what?
because it's just a 3 mana 2/3 at the end of the day. It isn't like a big threat on its own, and it doesn't generate card advantage. In general, Final Vengeance is quite good in red black. But there's kind of a trade-off here in that, like in our particular deck, Final Vengeance doesn't look so good at the moment. So we're kind of in a weird like middle ground where we got past this really good black card. I think I like the clown pick here. But it's tough. If you really want to take like a leap of faith and jump in on the Final Vengeance, you could. But I don't remember seeing a lot of black like super open in pack one.
Yeah.
But and so because of that, I would be less hesitant. If, for example, we had seen more black being passed to us in pack one, even if we didn't end up picking it because maybe there were better red cards, I would be more comfortable taking the Final Vengeance here as like a gamble. But we also aren't super close on hitting playables, I think, because some of the cards in our power right now we're not excited to play, especially if we're going to take the shift into black too. So I think the clown is a fine safe pick here, but it's not super exciting. Yeah, Fear Burning Alive is good. Yep. Yeah, I like this pick a lot. I think that we have incentive to want to be black instead of white so far, and this we need early creatures. And it hits Delirium a little bit easier for Fear of Burning Alive. So yeah, this pick I like quite a bit, and I think we're kind of dedicated to just trying to go for it in red black now. That's a great pickup. Actually, two quite good red-black cards, but the Mirth is the best of them if we're red-black in most versions of that deck. So, yep. Yeah, sure. Like this one. Yep. 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 Oh, wait. Can you backtrack a couple picks there? How are we? Wait, can you go one more back? I missed one. Okay, yeah, this is fine. Fine. Yeah. And then this one is interesting. I guess the friendly Teddy is probably the pick because we don't have two drops, right? We have
Yeah.
friendly, two drop. We have one.
No, we
Okay,
didn't
sure.
have that. Sorry.
No, yeah, you're good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Two.
All right.
I shouldn't have picked one this, but I was like, I need two drops.
um, I actually respect the discipline of this pick. Like whether or not like everyone would agree with it or not, I think the idea is really good. The in pack three, you typically want to focus on what your deck needs, and you correctly identify that your deck needs two drops. So I do think it might be a little too weak of a two drop compared to Fear of Burning Alive, which is quite a good card just generically. But I like the idea behind this pick, and I don't think that you should feel bad about it. Like you do need two drops, and that's a two drop. So yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, because it was pack 3 and my 2 drop was a fucking Teddy.
Yeah.
Like, this, do you think Innocuous Rat would have been better?
I think Scorching Dragonfire would have been better.
Oh.
Because firstly, sometimes you don't need two mana creatures if you have two mana removal, and then you already have a way to generate card advantage. Two of them actually that are good in the Mirth and in your rare that draws cards with the demon thing. So that's the thing we talked about earlier with like the Glimmer Burst. It's the same idea. If you can get cheap removal, and then you have either really strong cards like the demon door thing to finish games off, or ways to get card advantage like the Disturbing Mirth, then that's in and of itself a game plan. So you don't need to be like this aggressive deck just because you're red. Um, so I would be taking the Dragonfire here myself.
Okay, explain that again.
Okay, so like first of all, I think Dragonfire is a comparable card to Fear of whatever that 4/2 is. I can't really, something being hunted. Um, I think Dragonfire is probably a little bit of a better card in general, anyways. And we just mentioned that we're concerned about our number of two mana plays, and so that's a two mana play. It fills a hole in our deck.
Okay.
And as a game plan, think of it: removal makes the games last longer. Okay, that's a good way to think about it.
Okay.
And so if you have like a really good card in your deck or a handful of really good cards, then having removal will make the games last longer, which means you're more likely to draw them, and that you have a powerful enough card in your deck that you can finish off the game that way.
Oh.
So removal plus good cards, removal plus card advantage, those things pair together a lot. Because also if your removal trades 1-for-1, so they play a creature, you kill it, they play a creature, you kill it, and then you end up drawing cards because you have like the Demon Enchant or you have Disturbing Mirth, that's how you can pull ahead in games, right? So specifically cheap removal, along with card advantage and strong bombs, it is like a really good recipe for like a winning deck.
Oh, okay. Okay. Noted. This one.
That one, yes, for all the reasons we just said, and you can sacrifice it, so it's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
What are your thoughts on this one?
Thanks for the follow, Viper. What are my thoughts on this one? I don't remember, honestly. I don't. Hold up. Why was it? Wait. Okay. Oh, I probably wanted to be able to like sack this or this at one point.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I picked it.
Yeah, I think in red black sacrifice is exactly where you would want that 4-drop that you picked. But I think there's a couple other considerations that I would make here. Firstly, we don't have that much that's great to sacrifice. It's great with the Vengeful something, the 3 mana steel card. Um, that one, yeah. So it's good there because it gives you a sacrifice outlet. And it's good with the Mirth because you can sacrifice it to get your Manifest Red. And it's good with some of the doors if we pick any up that like they do their thing and then you sacrifice. But it is a 4-drop, which we don't need a whole lot of. And here's what I'm thinking. At the moment, I think we're gonna play more likely a little more like a control deck. Because we have a couple good cheap removal spells, and we have really good top end. So I would actually be more inclined to take either the Commune with Evil because it helps us find our good cards.
Yeah.
Or I actually think I would count how many playables we have, but I might take the dual land over the 4-drop too. Because the mana distribution can get weird when you have a lot of cards of one color, because then you want a lot of sources. But then you also have one single double black card, the backside of the demon enchant. And so it can make this weird tension in your mana base because you want enough black sources to be able to activate your double black, but you also need to have red because your deck doesn't function without red. So having dual lands, which allows you to have more sources of colors without having extra lands in your deck, gets a lot better. So for me, I think I would go Commune with Evil first, then the dual land, and then probably one of the red cards. It's sort of like a pick order here.
Okay. I never heard of like the concept of mana tension. That's interesting.
Yeah, you could think about it kind of like almost like a splash, right? Like imagine you're splashing this black card, because if you look at it, you don't actually have that many black cards.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about it like the idea of a splash, the reason why we don't splash double pip cards very often is because they require a lot of sources to consistently be able to cast. But if you play a lot of sources, then you're kind of sacrificing the consistency of the rest of your deck for your splash. And a way to resolve that is by having things that can tap for both colors, like your dual lands.
Okay. I'm cold. I'm gonna get my heated blanket.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions as you've been watching along, please feel free to ask them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're you're live. You're live, JJohn.
Hello, chat. What kind of snacks are best for drafting? Does that count? It's the best.
Which one did you say was the best?
Water?
Water? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't think like carb loading might be like a thing?
For drafting?
Yeah.
I don't know about. I mean, who doesn't love eating delicious carbs? But I don't think it's a requirement for the old sitting at the computer, you know?
Yeah.
Giant pasta plate. Sign me up.
A giant pasta plate, yeah, right? So much pasta. I'll be like having too much of the items to play.
Water isn't a snack. I mean, that's fair. I can admit that that's a very reasonable take to have.
Flutter, would you eat tomatoes as a snack when you draft? Because you put tomatoes, I'm assuming.
Maybe the tomatoes are to go with the pasta plate. Maybe that's.
Oh, okay. Cool.
That makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, we all good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I picked the monkey.
Yeah, monkey is yeah.
And then this one.
I think either of the red or black cards would be. I mean, the ticket booth or the murder would maybe be better than that. I think we might be okay on 2-drops now, because we have a Scorching Dragonfire from earlier, and we have the Nowhere to Run, and we picked up the Teddy, which we can play. I think we might be okay on 2s. And so Murder is in general a better card. It gives us an answer to threats. Um, and then, or alternatively, the door card with a ticket booth. Um, it's nice when you're doing some of the sacrifice stuff too. Like you just picked a 4-drop that can sacrifice for card advantage, and we also have the disturbing mirror because sometimes it's nice to just make your 2/2 and then sacrifice it, and you're not sacrificing like an actual creature card.
Oh.
And also as like a top end, sometimes just the 6-mana door can be a way to get a lot of damage in. So I think the playmate is not a big priority for us now. If we were still like planning to be white red, it would be a little better because I think there are some cards it works pretty nicely with in white red. But I would be on either Murder or Ticket Booth here, I think myself.
Okay. Yeah, why didn't I pick the Final Vengeance? What was I doing?
I agree that I like the Final Vengeance pick here.
What the fuck?
And I think that
I think
I can see a scenario. Maybe you tunnel visioned hard on needing the 2
I
drop.
think I
because,
did.
like, earlier it was a good pick, but we've since picked up a couple and we don't need it as much anymore. But I think that might have been it.
Yeah, that happens to me often actually.
Yeah, I mean I think it happens to everyone too. Like you get focused on a particular thing. I think sometimes it's just a good habit to try and refocus on each pick if you can. But I mean, like I said, that happens to everyone, so I wouldn't worry too much. Also, our blue deck would have been filthy, by the way.
Yeah, I did make that comment, I think.
What's that?
I did make a comment like that later.
Yeah.
There's this one.
Nice. That's a nice pickup.
This one.
Sure. Play game. Sure.
Woo!
Okay, cool. So we actually both the cards that I wanted to pick the first time wheeled. I think either one is fine here. I might still be, especially given we got a second Fear of Burning Alive, I would be more inclined to pick the Commune with Evil because it helps you from Delirium too.
You're so right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But okay, cool. Oh, and we got the ticket booth back. Nice. So okay, cool. So what does our deck look like? Is what's in the sideboard? Because I don't see the ticket booth here, and I'm intrigued. I would put probably the ticket booth in for like I'm not very big on these clowns here. I guess is where I'm.
Oh, that's a lot of them.
I think the clowns are not really at their best here. If we wanted to be more of like, so you have two. What is that card? The Hand That Feeds. So we have two Hand That Feeds, and we have two Fear of Burning Alive for things that reward us for hitting Delirium. And so the Ticket Booth both is an enchantment, which is a type that is less common in our deck, and it manifests Dread, which puts cards in the yard. So I think this card would be like noticeably better than like a Clown, for example, for those reasons.
My God. Okay.
Cool. And without delving too far into it, like there are some versions of this deck where you might want that 4-mana, like discard 2 type card. Let's play a game. That's not a great card in general, so I'm not like super upset to not play it. But just a comment, there are some versions of this deck that will play it. Usually when you have a lot of things that trade 1 for 1, like if you had a little bit more removal, then the card advantage of like just discard 2, or sometimes having the Delirium drawn can get pretty good.
Okay.
I actually might play the Friendly Teddy too. Oh, the Fear of Lost Teeth needs to be in, by the way. That one, you really want to play in this deck like quite a bit.
I didn't.
So, the reason I say that, just to like again, the thing we care about is mostly like the concept. It has 2 types, so being an enchantment means that you're going to be able to turn on Delirium a lot easier, which you have multiple cards that want you to have Delirium. And if you're worried about your early plays, it gains a life and it trades for most of like 2-mana plays and some 3 as well. So like, for example, if that card were in instead of like maybe like Ragged Playmate, or if that card were in instead of even like a Vicious Clown, I think your deck would be a little bit better at hitting Delirium.
This one.
Which, oh, the Fear of Lost Teeth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and generically that card is like better than it looks. So I think that that's like just something to keep in mind that most black decks will want to be playing that card. Um, just because it trades off early, it gains you some life, and it has good typing if you're doing Delirium stuff.
Yeah, okay. Um, okay. Okay, okay.
Okay.
And then details, right? That's okay, okay.
Okay.
Boop 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 boop. Wait, how do I do this?
Oh, you have to click
9 turns,
the
okay.
turns thing. Yeah.
Wait, did I win or lose this one?
You win.
That's too many turns. That's too many turns. Okay, here we go. I want to go over one game and then maybe move on to like a draft.
Okay. Sounds good.
Keepsies.
Yep. Super keep. Dude, sad.
I
It's
got
actually fine, but like it would be good to get the percussionist in there, given that we also have like multiple other lands to hit our land drops.
I think at one point, I really did do that. I don't know if it was this game, but I've done it at least in another game, and I got really mad at myself.
There are times when that's the correct play, so I wouldn't be like too upset about it. But I think that this is not one of those times.
Okay, but I think let's just imagine I actually knew what I was doing.
Okay.
All right, and I don't approach this deck anymore as an aggressive deck, right? I approach this as like what you said, sort of a controlling deck. Putting this down first so I can have the needlehead later would make more sense, right?
Well, the thing is that yes, that would be an argument you could make if you didn't already have two untapped red sources. So you still had the opportunity to go percussionist into needlehead. So you're just giving up your turn one mana here, but it's not like it gets you to needlehead because you would have had it anyways, right?
What if I didn't have this?
Then the discussion gets a lot better, and I think that it is a defensible play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was totally wrong.
Did you draw the second red source on your draw step? Like if you go back one more?
Yeah.
Okay, no, we already had it. Okay.
Oh, I drew a black source. A black.
Gotcha.
Swamp. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we should have been planning to play the red card, but it's still okay. Cool.
Oh, then they kill it. Cool.
Yep.
They kill me. Put this down. They swing? Is that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Looks good. Because you're not likely gonna have a block anyways.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's still there. Okay. Hits me. Ticket boost. Manifest. Oh man.
Well, I mean, it looks like you're just getting flooded a lot, which happens sometimes. I mean, that's just magic, as you know. But this is fine. I don't like the block here if that's happening.
I'm scared though, and I wanted to get more cards. I wanted to like play. I guess I saw the blocking as like drawing a card, so I could have something other than land.
Okay, so here's the thought though. Let's say you draw the best card you could draw that you could cast right now would be maybe like the black 2-mana removal spell. I think is like as far as instants and sorceries go, or instants go in your deck that you can use your mana this immediate turn. Then you get to kill their 2/2. And okay, you use your mana, great. But let's say instead, alternatively, and that's the best case scenario, right? So let's say that doesn't happen. You take 4 damage, you play a land, you play your 4/4, sack your 1/1, and kill their 2/2. Their 2/2 dies either way, and now you get an additional card because then you get the card off your percussionist.
It's like every 10 to 15 minutes I feel stupid as shit.
It's just a matter of like trying to like plan out a bit more like what you're gonna use your mana on.
Yeah.
Here's a general concept though that's nice to think about. The percussionist, well, it's nice because it can generate value and you can get nice jump blocks like you do here sometimes. One of the downsides that is not very obvious about the percussionist is that it makes your turns less flexible, right? Because let's say you draw a clown off of this percussionist. Next turn, you're going to lose it if you don't play it, right? So now you have to spend 3 mana and play a clown instead of 5 mana and play your 4/4, right? So it makes your turns way less flexible, or you're going to lose the card that they draw. So if you have something like a turn planned out that you really want, like, okay, I really want to use my mana well next turn, like I have a 5-drop I want to play, then there's a very real downside to blocking with this 1/1 because you might have to use your mana in a way less efficient way on the following turn.
I
So
see.
even if you didn't plan out sacrificing the percussionist, that's like something that you kind of want to think about with that card in particular.
Okay. Okay, okay.
Okay.
Wait.
Cool.
That's... Uh... Wait, what? Sorry. Okay. No. I'm just looking at the recording. Oh no! I'm putting in the wrong timestamps. This is not gonna make sense now. Sorry. I'm just don't worry about me.
Okay.
Okay.
It's all good.
Yes, everything's okay. Oh, I got a swamp out of it, and I think I drew another land afterwards. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, really, there was never anything you were going to do this game that was going to be like a huge difference maker, probably just because your opponent has it all, and like you're getting super flooded, so that's just going to happen.
Okay, let's go back. Okay.
Okay. Is that manifest? What that was their 4/4?
This?
I mean, I think it does it flip into it, or do they cast it?
Oh, it was from this, I think.
Horde Caller? Oh no, yeah. But I was asking, like, do they flip the manifest into the Horde Caller? Oh, they do. So, like, for example, if you had killed it with the percussionist, you actually would have been in a lot safer position because I mean, you don't know that it's that going in, but just to show how the game could have taken like a different route, you know?
Yeah. Oh my god. I might have still been in this.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It would be tough because they still would be able to activate their double strike thing this turn instead. So you were in a rough spot anyways, and mostly you lost this game to flooding out. But that is like again, just it's just like I would say as someone who's like, you know, if you whenever we're like trying to get better, to try and not discredit like small differences can make a really big difference in the outcome of a game sometimes. So it's like always interesting to sort of just keep track of like how things might have progressed had we made different decisions, and that's kind of how we process and like think stuff through.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I try not to like, oh man, I'm so unlucky. If I didn't flood, I would have done better. Like, yeah, but you need to learn how to make the best out of what you have, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, I was just fucked.
Yeah, now you're just you're pretty dead.
Okay, cool.
Also, by the way, that friendly ghost making a strong argument for being.
I know. Where did that? Where did they put that ability when it came out?
I think when they played it, they pumped the token and they got in.
Oh, okay.
That's when you did your chump block, yeah.
Okay. Beans. All right.
Cool.
Now we're gonna go draft. Any last comments on this?
Nope. No, I think, like I said, I think really the biggest component is straight up that you flooded, but I think there's still some, like, good stuff to think about from that game, so it's nice to have gone over.
Yeah, I think so. Let me close this out. Let me open Arena.
And I think mostly for the draft too. Um, like I'll let you know if I feel very strongly one way or another about like your pick or whatever. But mostly you just try and think through your picks and do your thing. And like if you have questions, let me know, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. Yeah.
How's your girlfriend doing?
Oh, doing good.
Is she learning?
I don't know. I'm not. I'm currently was looking at your draft.
Oh, I thought I don't know. I guess I imagined her being next to you. And you're like talking and she's like listening. But that's probably not what's happening.
Accurate.
Damn. I don't know why I thought she was sitting next to you, like taking notes. Okay, I'm stupid. Hey, chat, are you learning? Do you feel like you're learning, chat? Silence.
Yeah, chat's not about the learning.
No. Most of my chat isn't here to learn for sure. Ooh!
Ooh, that went quick. Oh, can you share your arena?
Oh,
Just because I
fuck.
think I'm on a delay if I look through your stream.
Yeah, you're right. I was... Okay. I think this was supposed to be really good, but how do you feel like about Under the Skin?
I think
Over
Under the
this?
Skin is an extremely good card, and Flood Pit Drowner also extremely good cards. So you do your thing. I like both of them a lot.
Okay, let's see here. I'm assuming I would have better chances with what's coming up next if I just pick this, right? Because
Honestly, it's really hard to tell, and I think that it's like anyone who's going to tell you
maybe
100%
not.
that one of these picks is good and the other one is bad is kind of full of shit. Um, I think like either one is fine, and they're both really good cards. So there might be small preferences, but your call.
Okay, I grabbed Under the Skin.
Cool.
Um,
Oh, also, I can't see your arena on the screen
you
share, just in
can't?
case. But I'm just looking at the stream right now. But I might be kind of delayed a little.
I am sharing it.
Uh, oh no, I can see it now. Just kidding. I take it back. I was just tech illiterate. You're good.
Okay. Um, I thought this was. I know you said like it's not so good, but I thought it was okay because, especially with this, because it could trigger delirium fairly easily, right?
Okay. I don't think that's like a huge mistake, but I would probably not be picking that here. The pack's a little weak. Um, I personally, when packs are a little bit weak, I usually tend to stay more open. So I might take the gym, the green card here, because it fixes your mana, which makes you more flexible later. But no, what you're gonna pick, the Final Vengeance, is not bad either. I think that's a defensible pick. So if you want to try it, I think it's totally fine.
This one.
Um,
Or
that one is fine. I think it's between the infection, if we're planning to stay black, and the unable to scream are like the primary ones, with unable to scream being a better card, kind of like in general. Um, I think yeah, either one is kind of defensible here. I personally would be more inclined to be towards the unable to scream because I don't think our Final Vengeance is so good that it pulls me into necessarily trying to play black. But it's not, like I said, these picks are all really close, and I don't think you can really go too wrong either way.
I don't like blue green.
Okay, then fuck it.
um, hmm. This is just poopy, but I guess I'll grab this because we talked about it already. How do you feel about this card?
That card is interesting. I started out and I didn't really like it that much, but it's kind of grown on me. Um, I think it kind of depends on obviously the deck you're in, but like you feel really bad mostly when you have that against like white red instead of having like a creature or whatever.
Uh-huh.
but it's not bad. I think you could pick it here and it'd be totally fine. I don't know how Glimmerlight is in Black Green. I haven't really got to play it that much, so I just don't have experience there.
Would you
Um,
spec on this?
I think that yeah, the dual land is potentially fine. I think Glimmerlight is probably okay, and Ghost Vacuum is defensible. And amongst those, I think those are fine. Any other pick, I'm pretty unexcited about.
Huh. This isn't like this a signal.
I think it is a good card. I don't think that it's a signal any more so though than the Stick Twister, and you already are looking to play black, so I would be kind of leaning that direction. Um, Manifest Dread, by the way, in the Delirium decks is quite good.
Yeah.
But I think Stick Twister is probably it is a comparably good card, and we seem to be closer to the black direction here. So I would maybe go with something there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like this pick. Like we might just maneuver into black red,
Yeah.
where we already are situated to have a pretty good setup with the Vengeance and the Infection. So sign me up.
This one.
Yeah, I like it because we don't have to be black red. We could
Yeah.
be black green still, and I think Manifest Dread kind of straddles that decision a little longer.
Hmm. Maybe just this then.
I like it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's like sure. We can pick this still then.
Yeah, sure.
What's this? Whoa. That's very expensive. For no reason. Sure. Let's just, put it in there. And this too. And this.
So like in picks like that, by the way, where you had the 6-drop versus the Eddie, I usually lean towards taking the 2-drop there because your deck needs 2-drops, and you don't necessarily need that Chandelier card. And so the idea there is if you take the 2-drop, then if you don't get there on 2-drops by the end of the draft and you're really missing 2-drops, you're very happy to have taken it there. Whereas you're never going to feel like, man, my deck would be good except I don't have a Chandelier. But you might think my deck would be good except I don't have enough 2-drops.
Ah, okay. I was already in like green black mindset, and I was like, well, I don't want to deck myself.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't happen. I think there's not. I don't know. I'm kind of confused. I think I'm leaning towards this just because this is a really good card, but that would very plainly put me into like red black.
Yeah, or I mean, you don't have to play it just because you pick it, but I also would take that card here. I think it's like the right direction to go. Yep, Nowhere to Run is quite good. Maybe if the Ratwood Wheel would be great.
Yeah.
It is what is kind of nice is we didn't see a lot of green or blue coming from the other direction in pack one. And we just passed a bookworm into another bookworm, which means it's going to very likely cement someone within 1 or 2 picks, their seats to our right, into blue-green very heavily, which is good for us because then the black and red cards will likely flow a little more in pack 3. So it's like actually a pretty nice thing that we're passing good cards in colors we're not currently playing.
Well, now that you made that comment about the green blue, I feel like what am I doing? Hold up. So I think we can either pick just a land or this one.
Yeah, I think it's between land and Ghost Vacuum for me.
Huh.
Ghost Vacuum gets actually pretty decent in some of the decks where you have good removal because you have Sporadic Infection and Nowhere to Run and Final Vengeance. I guess Final Vengeance remove exile, so it's a little different. But like if you are having a lot of cheap removal, Ghost Vacuum is actually a pretty decent end game. So I don't mind picking it up here, although if the dual land wheels, that'd be amazing. Yep, I like that.
What's this? Collect a company? What the heck? That's in here?
I did not know that was in here, but that's cool.
Huh. This is so awkward because we have this giant gap for 3 drops. But I sort. Wait. This
Cool.
one.
Yeah, I like bargain here. Although I would make the point, like, we are going to need creatures at some point, and the rat is good. I think we're getting to the point where it's close enough you could defensively take the rat, although I still think the bargain is correct.
Okay, let me clean this up.
And because we have the black-green land, we have the option to splash that green card too later if we want, which is cool.
Do you consider this removal?
Yeah.
Okay, goes over here. Goes over here. Okay, so in the middle are my creatures. This is where my removal goes, and this is where like everything else goes.
Yeah. So we do need to pick up some creatures, but this sphere being hunted is a fine pickup.
Oh. What if I pick up this dog?
I think we're far enough away from green that we can't play a green 2-drop here.
No!
So I think we're taking maybe the Fanatic, or let's play a game if you want to gamble that you'll get there on creatures, but it's getting a little bit close.
Yeah, end of pack 2.
Yeah.
This one might be okay. Right?
Yeah, that one's all right. It's not bad. We might want to take the Fanatic.
More 4
I think
drops?
the math is fine. Like, I think going with your pick is totally fine. But realize, oh, nice. That's a nice pickup, the 4-drop here. Fanatic is actually card advantage. So when you have a lot of removal, oh, nice. Ooh, if the second rat wheels, that'd be sick. What? Dual land? Whoa.
No, we don't have enough creatures.
We're fine. We're fine.
Oh, yay!
Nice. That's really sick. That makes our deck like a lot better than it otherwise would have felt.
Ooh, okay. I like the idea of 2 stick twisters, but Gremlin is really good, and I only like the idea of like 2 stick twisters just because consistency in drafting is really nice.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with. I had exactly the same line of thinking. Like, 2 stick twisters is great. Gremlin is very good. I think I might be more inclined to take the Gremlin here, but I'm not sure. Honestly, that's a really close pick. If you were going to take the stick twister, I think that's totally defensible too.
Well, I don't have that many delirium things, but it would help to have this for delirium because you get to like discard.
Yeah.
This one. Wait, this one?
How many sacrifice outlets do we have? Just the Final Vengeance and the Bargain and the 4-drop? We have 3? Because the Vengeful card, whatever it is maybe a reasonable pick up here. That one?
This one?
Oh, and the Mirth. Yeah, thank you, Flutter. So yeah, we have multiple sack outlets. I think I would rather take the Vengeful Procession here, especially given that the Rat, which is another card we want for the deck, is likely to wheel, given the last pack.
Oh, this rat. Okay. My boy!
Yeah, I honestly would just take it here, because we already have the black-green dual land, and if we happen to pick up like a little bit more fixing, then we might even be able to play that card. And we're not passing anything good to do so, so might as well. Or good in our colors, I should say.
Hi, Ben. Thanks for the raid. Oh my god, it's a big raid. I'm so nervous. Shake
All
my
right,
charms.
what are we thinking?
Thanks for the raid. There was like JJohn, there's like over 200 people watching you now.
Exciting.
Oh, what the heck is this?
Yeah, it looks good to me. All right, what are you thinking?
I can't. Hold up.
Oh, sorry.
Ticket booth. Thanks, Ben.
Okay, sure. Ticket booth is fine.
Okay, what do you think though otherwise?
I think infection we don't need another copy of. I think it's between ticket booth and specialist. The only argument for specialist is that it's another sack outlet for your vengeful procession. But I think ticket booth is kind of important for this deck, both because we don't have something to spend a lot of mana on, and because we can sacrifice it as well. Oh, nice. The Undead Sprinter is a really nice pickup for
Yeah.
what we're doing.
This is the first time I've actually gotten to draft it.
Ooh.
Keith?
Probably teeth. Let's see. Yeah, teeth seems fine to me. Looks good.
Murder goes over here. Over here. Very, very heavy on the 4-drops. This one?
Yeah.
Or this one?
Yep. I like the dual end better. Like, just being able to cast our spells is pretty nice.
This one.
Yes.
Or spider.
Probably. Yeah. Okay, yes. Yes.
Oh!
Yep, we just... all the rats.
Yeah! It's rats. Gay rats. This one. It's a sack thingy.
Yeah, we might actually play that card. Like, normally it's not a great card, but in this deck with that many rats and a lot of enchantments lying around, that actually becomes a lot better.
There's someone with the name Mishra's Bauble. That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Is that a spinning rat? Oh my god. Sorry.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a spinning. Why does everyone get a spinning rat but me? Okay. So I'll just break this down first and then like start taking out things. Why was this good again?
It's good because it's actually a pretty nice late game option when your deck has a lot of removal, which ours does.
Okay.
Because if you can keep removing their creatures and every turn you like put another creature under it, eventually you pay 6 mana and you just get like 6/1/1 flyers or whatever, or 4 of them or whatever it is. Usually with various like ETB effects or on death effects, which is just better than normal having a bunch of flyers. And so in decks like ours, where we don't necessarily have a lot of ways to push damage, like the Enduring Courage specifically is good at pushing damage, but otherwise we're not really good at it. Then it can be a good late game option for you. Also, by the way, it works really good with the Enduring Courage because if you drop like 4 creatures on the board and they all get +2/+0,
oh
shit, then your opponent
shit!
just dies. So that's kind of a nice side note.
Yeah, you're right. What if... Wait. I think it might be worth keeping Brood Spinner in because of the Surveil. I'm keeping all of these. Not this one.
Yeah, get out of here, clown.
Yeah, get out of here. I don't know about this one.
Okay.
And
I'm with you. I was thinking to cut it too, so get out of here.
Get. I have 26.
Yeah.
Okay, Is this card advantage?
It is if the opponent discards 2 cards, right, and you paid 1, or you use 1 card, that's card advantage. So, yeah.
I don't know how well it plays in this deck, though. It just is there, right? Like,
I would be inclined to try it, because 2 reasons. First of all, you have a lot of low power creatures like 3 rats, and even then they manifest into 2/2s, which means you have some lines where, like, let's say you attack your Rattan and they block the -1/-1. So if you get Delirium, then the -1/-1 along with discarding 2 cards, if you can get a card's worth of value for the -1/-1 is really good. Right. So there's some synergy there. Also, again, when you have a lot of removal, which you have a lot of removal, when that's the case, then playing things that have card advantage gets better because the games will go longer and card advantage will be much better at not costing you the game because like for example the disadvantage of playing card advantage in a lot of decks like divination, things that just draw cards or generate card advantage, is that you spend tempo to do it, and a lot of times as a result you die while it's happening. Right? You pay 3 or 4 mana, and you draw some cards or make your opponent discard like a mind rot effect, and then you die. But if you have enough removal that you can just exhaust them of threats or make sure you only take a little bit of damage when you cast your card advantage, then that's one route to gaining advantage over a long game. So we might cut it. We'll see where other cuts are coming from, but at the very least, I think let's play game is something to consider here.
Okay. So I sort of want Killer's Mask because it helps us get Delirium with the Manifest. It's also in itself a creature.
Okay.
And then maybe not take the Murder because we already have so much cheap removal.
Can I ask you really quick? What do you want to get Delirium for specifically?
Um, where was it? Where'd it go? This one.
This one. Okay, so this is a nice one to get Delirium for, and that's a good reason. Now, how many cards in your deck reward you for having Delirium?
1, 2.
I would say 2 because you have the Let's Play game also, but let's say 2. The point I would make is that if you have only a couple cards, oh, is there 3? Oh, we're gonna get to the Brood Spinner in a second, Flutter. Yeah, but so let's say 2. So if you have 2, then like if like you don't want to play cards that aren't good to enable a mechanic that is not going to be a large payoff for you. So
You're right.
if you had like 5 in your deck, then all of a sudden it becomes a lot more defensible.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you wanted to play the mask for other reasons, like let's say I want it because it costs 3 mana, I want it because my deck has trouble pushing damage and menace might be nice, those kinds of things, by all means, like, those are reasons to consider, but I don't think the Delirium enabling is the major component there.
What if I put that mask on this thing?
Then they would have to double block it, and maybe it could be very good for you. So those are reasonable things to think about. In some scenarios, that might be good.
Okay.
Now, talk about the spider really quick though. I am not a fan of the spider splash, even though we have 2 black-green lands. And the reason why is because of the amount of Manifest Dread that we have in our deck. Splashing when you have Manifest Dread gets very awkward sometimes because if you mill your green source or green sources off of the Manifest Dread, it makes it all that much harder to cast that card.
Oh my god.
So that's something to consider about. We do have, again, multiple green sources, and we can afford to play a forest because we have a black-red duel. So that in this deck, it's a really close consideration. I would not fault you if you wanted to play the Brood Spinner, but it's definitely something you want to think about when you're splashing in cards that have Manifest Dread. So, like, I would say if you were going to play the Killer's Mask, which is another Manifest Dread card, along with the Ticket Booth as well, then I would kind of lean towards not playing the Brood Spinner. If you did want to play the Brood Spinner, if you were going to cut the mask, then you can be a little more defensible in playing the Brood Spinner. But that is something you kind of want to think about a decent amount.
Okay.
So yeah, I would probably cut it. And then we still need what? One more cut?
Yeah.
All right. What are you thinking?
One of these over here. I think this one probably. Infernal Phantom is funny in the way that, like, I think is maybe flexible in that you can be more aggressive with it, or you can like just hold back and block with it because they're likely
Mhm.
not going to want to like kill it so it pings
Mhm.
or deals
Yeah,
damage to anything, right?
I agree. Also, it works pretty nicely sometimes because you actually have a higher than average number of enchants, I think, in your deck. Um, for like how a lot of red black decks look, and you have the ability to sacrifice it, so you can actually push lethal damage with it sometimes too, right? Like imagine your turn goes like sporadic infection, pump it, attack with it, and then like sacrifice it to final vengeance or something, and then you just send like 4 damage face. Like those are routes you can take to win. So I like keeping the Phantom. I was thinking for the last cut maybe the Appendage Amalgam. That card is not like super good for us. Um, and I think the the 4 drop, like the let's something or other, whatever it does. Um, yeah. Oh, to address chat really quick, Mark MTG, um, that you're correct that like milling doesn't change the likelihood of drawing any one particular card. You're still the probability is the same, but the down like the outcomes are not the same, right? Like if you're playing like a bomb and you mill it, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, that happens. But when you're playing with a splash, the fact that you have the opportunity to then blank an entire card in your deck changes the dynamic because it's not just about your likelihood to draw or not draw the card anymore. So it is definitely not as good to splash in decks where you have options to blank your entire color source. The fact that we have enough of them, I think, does mean you can make the argument that the splash is still viable, but it is incorrect to just say that you should, like, that milling has no impact on if you should splash. That's just not correct.
Yeah, it would be really sad if I mill all of this and this just sits in my hand forever.
Yeah, and now one way you can mitigate that, by the way, in some decks, um, is if you have ways to like rummage or loot. So, like for example, imagine you had the Fanatic of whatever thing, the 4 mana 2/2, which lets you discard a card and draw a card. Then it becomes a lot more reasonable. So there might be a version of the deck where you play all your green sources plus 1 forest, and you play the Fanatic because that gives you an out sometimes. If you do mill your green sources, you have some redundancy that you can then discard the Brute Spinner and still generate like get a card for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Uh, but but anywho, like in this particular case, I think you could go either way. If you wanted to play it, I wouldn't criticize you too much for it. I think it's like totally defensible. Um, if you didn't want to play it, I mean, I think the deck looks reasonable as is.
Okay, so some thoughts.
Hmm.
So, Appendage Amalgam, I think I would want in there just because it's another 3 drop and I just like the curve a lot more than
Okay.
like having more 4. Oh, wait, hold up. Get in here.
Hmm.
More 4 drop cards.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I think that because we have all this removal, like you said,
Hmm.
it might be okay to have a little bit of an empty 3 drop thing, but I don't know how it would work out in terms of like how heavy this gets. Oops. You
Hmm.
know? Like,
Yeah. No, yeah, I think it's totally fine if you'd like to play the amalgam. Like that's defensible. Having an extra creature is rarely like a disaster. Um, I will say, as a general concept, that I think that like the more cheap removal that you have access to, the less you have to care about your curve as much. Because the advantage of a curve is that you can continually apply pressure. But all of our 2 drops, other than Undead Sprinter, they don't and Reverent Gremlin, they don't really apply pressure anyways. So curving out against our opponent is not likely how going to be how we win games.
hmm.
Um, but again, I think these last cuts are kind of fairly close. Like, I think it's totally fine to play the deck with the amalgam.
Okay. I need a break. My brain is melting. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get like water and go to the bathroom and stuff.
Okay, I will do the same then. I'll be
Okay,
back in
cool.
just a sec. Okay, I'm back. How's the chat's doing?
Hi. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, okay.
All right, let's see if we can win games.
Yeah, let's see.
We'll see.
I'm excited! Cool.
Looks good. Hopefully they play an opportunistic scavenger on turn 1.
Wait, what?
And then we want them to play a scavenger on turn 1 so that we could sack it and kill it and draw 2 cards, but this is fine.
We wish, but
Probably just attack. Yeah. It sucks if we don't draw a red source.
Yeah.
But I think we want to hold the Mirth. I don't know. You could play it if you want. It's actually a really close spot, but like it's not sacking a creature here is not the most value we could get. And also remember that we do have the steal a creature effect in our deck, so we want to also be aware of using our sack outlets.
Okay, but what if I don't draw my red source next turn? And
Well, we can cast almost every other card in our deck, so the only really bad draws are swamps. Which, in fairness, if we draw a swamp, is pretty bad. But I think, given that the fear of what's this called?
Lost Teeth?
Lost Teeth. Yeah. So like now if we draw a swamp, then we can. So now we can play the Disturbing Mirth, kill their 1/1, and draw cards, and at least we recoup some value from it. But we draw first in case we draw the tap land.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Oh no, it's not a tap land; it's a dual land, so it doesn't matter. But still, it's a good habit to draw first.
Do you think they would block?
I think it's super greedy to try and get block. If you block, then you have to skip your turn. So I would not send, but if you're ballsy, you know.
Alright, cool.
Cool. Maybe they'll play like a 1/3 Vigilance Flyer, and then we can eat it for free with the fear of
Nah.
Nah.
They didn't do
They're
that.
just expansing.
You're sussy. You're real sussy.
So here you have kind of a decision to make. If you think they have a counter, you can just play past the turn so
Yeah.
that they can't use their mana and play Amalgam.
Yeah.
And if you think they don't have a counter, playing Enduring Courage puts you really far ahead, because then all your creatures come out just giant. So kind of up to you. What are your thoughts?
I think I'll think about the long game. So I'll
Okay.
pass the turn and put out the Amalgam.
Okay.
I hope you use your counter on this dude.
Mhm.
See?
Yeah.
Huh?
I think they have a Glimmer Burst most likely here because they would have just countered this immediately if they had it. So really quick, just some Sanguine. There's like a quench or whatever, like 2 mana counter unless they pay 2. So I think probably just start with attacking.
Well, this has haste, so if I was gonna put it out, but I wasn't gonna attack because I get to surveil, but I'm not drawing anymore afterwards.
Yeah, I think we can be confident that they either don't have a counter, or if they do, then we're going to be able to pressure now that we have a creature into play.
Oh, okay.
So, oh yeah, that's a great card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can actually just play the Enduring Courage, and I think how this is going, like Glimmer Burst is their most likely holding, but if they counter it, they counter it. It's fine. And play your land. Ooh. All right, so barring them like wiping our board or something, I think we're looking pretty good.
Wow. You're right.
Oh, this fucking fuck.
That's cute. Can I put this on it? Can I? No, they already have this. Fuck. Hold up. Hold up. I think it would make for pretty awkward blocks if I put this in attack for both, and maybe... Wait, that would be... And I would have 2 left. And yeah, and then maybe I could use this on something. They might double block this or this. I don't know.
What do you think is the biggest priority for the turn?
Putting more creatures down.
Okay, I think the biggest priority is kill that Gremlin Tamer.
Oh, okay.
If you play the fear of being hunted in an attack, then you can do that, or you can Final Vengeance the Gremlin Tamer. Either one is fine. But I think that killing the Gremlin Tamer is the biggest priority. Oh, cool. Get her out of it too, and put a land in the yard. Looking good.
Okay.
Now, so you kind of have to decide what the plan is. I think. Oh, okay, we're good.
Sorry, I was running out of time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're slow.
Get out of time. Get out of here. Well, they wouldn't
So-
double block that, would they? Oh my god.
They probably will. So I think we just ticket booth here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's your entire board, opponent.
And what I was gonna say is playing the fear of being hunted is defensible there too, because you want to entice a double block. Man, we're getting good manifests. You want to entice the double block specifically because we have this infection, which is an edict effect. So now we get to kill their like 5-drop because they don't have any 1/1s left.
Do I flip it?
I actually wouldn't, because you push more damage by not flipping it, and you don't need it flipped next turn. So now we play the infection on our Enduring Courage, probably. So we can target them, and then they have to sacrifice their 2/7.
Wait, what?
So cast that on. Well,
Oh!
on the Enduring Courage.
Okay, I see. Wow. Okay.
And then it targets them, and they have to sack their creature.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Then we play the fear of being hunted, and then unless they have like split up or like some kind of wrath, then they dead. Because fear of being hunted and tunnel of hate is a pretty brutal combo for them.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Oh, that's pretty dangerous. That was a really good draw. As sad as it is, we might just need to take a turn off to kill the scavenger. Because, well, I guess they only make one more body. Yeah, because I think one of the ways we lose is they make enough tokens that we can't push through damage, and then they just win in the air because they put like a million counters on the fear.
So we do kill it.
Of whatever. So I think we might have to kill it. Yeah, tragically, and just play like the Gremlin. It's like not the best use of our mana, but yeah, it is kind of problematic for us if that thing lives. So like, you know how like earlier we talked about the idea of like what's the most important thing on this turn?
Yeah.
Like, that's usually a good way to think about it. The two things are you want to use your mana the most, and what's the most important priority that you want for that turn.
But,
so like there.
Hold up. But how do I know what's a priority? How can I assess a threat?
Yeah, that's like learning to assess what threats are good and not, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the hard part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I do that though?
Some of it is like experience, like, and trying to think about things like how can I lose this game, or what's my plan to win this game. That's usually where it starts, right? Because if you can identify the plan to win, or you can identify the plan to lose, or that your opponent can win, I guess, which would result in you losing rather, then that informs what is important for you during, in that game.
Okay, so I need more creatures or I need more removal.
We're still winning right now, like, because they're so behind on life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're probably doing it's pretty good. I think now would be a good turn though to just flip over or to use the door, because then we have good attacks. and the Undead Sprinter has trample, so it's going to be really good next turn. And I think we send with both 2/2s and give double strike to the 4/4. So this is interesting. On one hand, it feels like we're giving up value because we trade off our rat without it manifest dreading. But the thing we really care about is because they get chump blocks, the more creatures that we allow them to keep. So we're willing to trade off our 2/2 and give up a little bit of value there, just to clear the board more because it makes our attacks better on future turns.
Okay. Don't worry, Gremlin, you're still cute even if you can't scream.
Still cute.
Still cute.
Oh, Piranha Fly, that ain't it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's good for us, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
Okay, that's really good for us. Oh wait, we have probably well, no, we don't have lethal, but we're fine. So we play the land, and we play the Undead Sprinter, and we send with our guys.
if I make this double strike, it would
They're almost for
3?
assuredly, because the Undead Sprinter has trample, they're almost guaranteed to block the face down one anyways.
So I put it on here, right? A double strike?
So you put the double strike on the trampler. Exactly. And we are not flipping over the 2/2 because we don't want to let them know that we have a big creature.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if randomly they have like kill all 3 or bigger creatures or whatever, then we'd run dodge that, even though it's a rare.
Yeah. I have a lot of card draw.
They do have a lot of cards. So right now, we're not like guaranteed to win by any means, but things are looking not so bad for us. The Fear of the Being Hunted is going to untap, and we have a lot of good draws in our deck because we have so much removal. So I don't think they can attack, probably, but we'll see what they do for their turn.
Probability of drawing a land is still pretty high.
That's okay. Like I said, the thing is that we have good attacks, and that's really what matters here. Oh, they're sending. Okay. So we want to flip the face down guy now, just to use our mana.
Because he attacks better as a 4/4, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they don't have anything, we have lethal, but they probably have put a card on top.
I think putting a double strike on this is okay, right? No, wait. Yeah.
I think we want to put the double strike on the Fear of Being Hunted, probably.
Yeah.
And then send with everything is my guess. Because, okay, they could have used their mana to put counters on things and they chose not to, right? Which means they have something. It's either probably a Glimmer Burst or it's Vanish, whatever that card is. So I think we put the double strike on the Fear and we send with the 4/4 and the 4/2 and the 2/2. Because we actually want if they block the 2/2, for example, like they bounce the Fear of Being Hunted and they like block the Ripper and then eat the 2/2, that's fine because it comes back as a 3/3 trample, which is even better for us.
Yeah.
But we are getting like small close to being dead, so we want to be kind of careful, but we're not quite dead, so it's getting really close.
Yeah.
They have the Vanish. Fortunately, by putting it here, they bounce our Haster, so we can guarantee that it comes down and can attack next turn. So I think leaving it on top makes sense.
Okay.
It's definitely better than average. Now they have to block the 4/4, and they either take 2 damage or they let us grow the Sprinter now, which, again, both good outcomes. Yep. play the. Oh, I forgot that we can't play the sprinter this turn. I done fucked up. I'm sorry.
Well,
But
it's
either way, we're still okay. I think we might be dead. If they have a creature, we're dead. But I still think it's correct to put on top because it makes them have a creature.
it makes them have a creature?
Because if they don't have a creature, they can't send with both flyers.
Oh, okay.
Right. Whereas if we just take like a random draw, there's even if it's like removal, we're still not winning that game.
Oh, fuck. All right, GG.
We're just dead straight up, but that's gonna happen. I think we played that mostly good. There were a couple decisions we could have made different. Like the first turn we attacked with the amalgam, I think. But they ended up having it. We didn't get like excessively flooded or anything. They just you just lose sometimes.
I attacked.
Because the first turn we attacked with the amalgam, we could have played the fear of
Being hunted?
fear of being hunted that same turn, and then they double block, and then we would have gotten in an extra 3 damage because they probably blocked the fear of being hunted, and we would have gotten extra surveils from the amalgam probably on future turns.
Oh, okay.
Also, like, it would have given us an opportunity to maybe play the tunnel of whatever it is later on a turn where they didn't expect it. And that can open up like some good things. Like for example, they killed the menace creature because they knew that it could double strike. But yeah, putting double strike on the sprinter was good. Maybe, yeah. But so if we put double strike on the sprinter, then we don't have a good attack with the 4-2, right? Because the 4-2 would just be a chump attack. And then they would bounce the sprinter. And then I guess then they would have to block with the 3-4. So okay, then they trade with the sprinter. Okay, no, I can get on board with that. No, yeah. Some Farquaad, I think that may have been just the correct play. That's a good point. I forgot that nothing was dying when they blocked the 4-4, so I fucked up for sure. Yeah, so let's say we put the double strike on the sprinter. They have to block it or bounce it. Let's say, well, okay. Then if we send everything, then they have to block or they can bounce the 4-2, block, and then we get a trade for sure. No, yeah, I'm on board with that. I agree with you. So yeah, we should have double strike the sprinter.
The last turn?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Provided that we put them on the vanish, which we did.
Hold up. Replay.
Yeah, I agree, Farquaad. I think when they untap and cast the ethereal armor, plus the counters, it probably doesn't matter. But yeah.
Again!
Hmm.
Thanks for being here, by the way, JJohn.
Yeah, I might have to take off here in a little bit.
Okay.
But I have enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, they're almost diamond.
No fear.
Let's ruin their day.
Mm-hmm.
D-rank them back to like flat 3.
Down to bronze, I hear you.
Wait, who's going first? And how do I know that?
We're going first.
Ooh!
I think we want the rat because if the game goes long, the stick twister is going to be pretty good against the red decks.
Would you
And we're
trade?
willing to, yeah, I would take this trade if they offer it.
Would you still? Okay.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And yeah, probably just pass here, use our mana most efficient.
I'd block this one, right? If they attack with it. Block it with this? Or not?
That's a good question. We'll see what they do. Okay. I think I would flash it in and then block both 1/1s. If they have the what's that card called?
Turn inside out?
Turn 9 side out, yeah, then that's good for them, but it isn't like backbreaking. And if they don't have it, it's quite a good block for us. Also, you know, like the mana thing we talked about, where like it can make their turns awkward if you, you know, when their percussionist dies.
Oh.
That means it's good to kill 2 percussionists in the same turn too, because then if they can only cast one of the cards, like let's say they hit 2 like 3 drops or something, then they don't get full value out of it. So I think this is a good play.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. So this is pretty common. We and realize that like if we just take extra damage too, then turn outside out can go face later anyways. So like I think it's a good consideration to just like prevent the damage. And we have good blockers. The Infernal Phantom will block very well.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's a good draw. Ooh.
I would be like, oh man, they got so much stuff out of this, but I'm like, yeah, they also like might not be able to play it.
Yeah. Fortunately, they hit very well there, but it's
Ah!
okay.
What is this? Oh.
Mm.
I'm inclined. What does this do? I mean, maybe?
No, we can't use that here. That like because it doesn't advance the board at all.
But it might get me a land.
Uh, That's like a very bad use. That's like throwing away a card though for a maybe get a land, and you can't even use that land this turn.
Okay. I think I'll
So
just put down the rat then.
yeah,
I could
put it
hold
to the
this
rest
up,
fine.
but I don't.
I think I would be inclined to use the murder myself,
Yeah.
just because it uses our mana best, and we have like if we use the murder this turn, let's say we draw land and we want to play 2 creatures, we can stick Twister and Rat. Um, or we can just play the Phantom. And the Rat doesn't actually contribute to our blocks here.
Oh, you're right.
So now in 2 turns, the Rat does contribute because the Rat is a good blocker on the split skin thing. But even knowing that they're gonna so Sam Shot, even knowing that they're playing 2 drops, I think against white red in this format, it's usually a high, especially when we can afford to be more of a grindy deck. It's my opinion that it's more important to use your mana well and not fall behind than it is to have the optimal target for murder, especially given that we have a handful of sacrifice outlets in our deck with the threaten effect, and we have a lot of removal in our deck in total. So I think all of those things considered, I would be more inclined to prioritize the mana efficiency, especially given that we don't have lands. I'd even be willing to kill the like Fear of Surveillance, or to kill the Manifest Dread. But I think this is still like okay.
I'm not gonna block.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I would be inclined to block here. Only because like we don't have a second red source. Oh, I was thinking trade off the 2/2, but okay, we can. That's fine. You know, like just to get another 2/2, sure. But like I guess my thought is like you're gonna want to block the Slitskin doll anyways at some point, and the rat is the best blocker for that. We don't have a red source, and even if we do, paying 4 mana to flip up a creature that's already on board makes us way more susceptible to any interaction they have, because then we fall really far behind.
I
So I
think they
don't
have
think,
jump
given
scare.
yeah, this is sort of where I would lean towards. Um, Also, I think this gives us Delirium too, for whatever it's worth, because there's no enchant in the yard right now, right?
There
So
is.
that's another. Oh, there is. I take it back. Yes, Farquaad. Obviously, 3/3 blocks a 2/1 better, but the point is just that it costs you 4 mana. So if you do that, and let's say they have a like even just like a turn inside out, then your 2/1 trades with our 3/3, and then like we are in a significantly worse spot. Or if they have a what's it called? The enchantment, the door thing, turn something door or something. It exiles and then is then they have good attacks with their 2/2s again, and we can be falling behind. And we're not guaranteed to draw the red source. Like we happen to draw, but we don't even know if we are. So like just saving it and taking damage and giving them surveils every turn, it is I think not worth it. If I knew a mountain was on top, then yes, I would not take that block. There's no value from the enchant though, right? Like it's not actually value. It's like it it does add benefit to your game plan, but it's not like you're drawing a card from it. Wait, do we have an instant in the yard, by the way?
Nope.
Okay, just curious, because that will influence if we want to murder something. Maybe at a certain point, it's just good to know. Maybe they'll cast like, whoa, this is a pretty suspicious attack, so we might get value on our murder here, which is kind of sick. I think I just like taking the obvious blocks, like rat on the 2/1 and 2/3 on their 2/2 on the fear. Yeah, and maybe they'll go for something, and we get a blowout with a murder.
Yeah.
If they have two somethings, that's worse. But uh, yeah, so we can just murder that right now. If they have the thing that gives it +1/+1 and hexproof, then even when the phantom dies, we still get to kill the gremlin. So like that's all pretty good.
Oh, that's true. What?
We win.
That was so unnecessary.
It was the moral victory.
What? I don't understand people like this, but okay.
Mhm.
Okay, are you down for another one, or did you have to go?
I'll do one more. I'll stick around for one more game.
Okay. Let's go. They were just intimidated. I'm so scary. Look at me. I'm 120 pounds.
They're probably 119, so
They're probably 119. Alright, Sam Shot. Enjoy from bed. In your comfy spots. Just cast murder on opponent. Interesting. Unless what is this? Okay. That's cool.
Yep.
I can still use this.
Yep.
Boop, boop, boop.
Sound effects too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm down to twist some sticks. You know what would be sick though is if they play the 2 mana 0/4 thing that taps for mana and you just get to eat it with your fear of being hunted. Dang.
Yeah, but not with this, huh?
No.
Oh, can I enchant
Honestly,
something?
I was gonna say I might even trade the Fear of Being Hunted for their 2/2 and get 2 lifelink hit in, because I think black green doesn't have ways to make like a lot of tokens like blue white does. So the Sporogenic Infection probably can get their 3 or 4 drop still.
Wait, if I had put down a swamp instead, would Sporogenic Infection and then put down a tooth be okay?
It would be okay, but I think it's better to hold the infection probably. Because the Fear of Being Hunted, it's not like we have Most Valuable Slayer in our deck that we're going to combo with it or in our hand or whatever. So they're going to be able to block it eventually anyways. And this way we also save the infection to be more mana efficient for the following turn. Oh, I wouldn't do that yet. Wait until the end of their turn, because if they have the 3 mana card that gets a card back from the graveyard, then that thing. Oh, I guess it doesn't target. So okay, maybe now. Anyway, yeah, maybe you just want to do it now, anyways. I forgot if that card targeted or not. But at least now maybe they'll miss. Who knows?
Oh, heck.
That was a weird one to get back.
Wait, now?
I honestly might just pass the turn.
Can I put this down?
Mm.
Why not?
The idea would be that you could pass Betrayer's Bargain if you don't, but I think putting it down is better, because you don't need to pass Betrayer's Bargain. And if they play like a 4-drop or something, wait, no, actually, wait, don't play that. Just pass the turn, because they have a 1 mana 1/1 in their hand, which you can get benefit from the Fear when you sack it.
Oh.
Right. So actually, not giving them the information that you have a ping to generate value is probably worthwhile. Right. So now if they do this, then you can get kind of the best of all the worlds. And then you exile their thing to keep them off Delirium.
Attack me, I will not block. Okay. Okay. So I can put this down, and then I use Betrayer's Bargain on this, and then ping this thing.
This is actually... Okay, you could get fancy here if you like. The fancy play is to put the yeah. Infection on the survivor and hope that they sack. Actually, no, this is fine. Yeah, this is totally... Just put the infection on the survivor to start. It doesn't matter which one they sack, I guess. Target them. Because the idea here is that we want to exile not the survivor, because then we get to steal the survivor with the Ghost Vacuum. That's what I was getting at. So then you play the Fear of Lost Teeth. And honestly, you could probably just pass the turn, to be honest. Because they don't have anything to do and we can respond to instant speed.
How do you know they don't have anything to do?
No, I mean, they don't have any attacks.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to be forced to play the Betrayer's Bargain, and we have an advantage of waiting. Right, so now, for example, when you kill it, now that we got an extra card from it. So we're going to play the Betrayer's Bargain, sacking the 1/1, exiling their 1/1, and then pinging their 3/2.
What?
What?
So I'm gonna exile this thing.
So get their 1/1.
Okay.
1/1. Yep. And then sack your 1/1.
This is too fancy.
And then you ping their 3/2. And then it dies, and then your guy lives.
Oh yeah, because they can't. Okay.
The reason we did it this way is because now their 3/2 did not get exiled, so we can steal it with the ghost thing. Which, well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just do it. Right, and so now when we make a flying copy of that, we can just keep churning out manifests over and over again, which is good for us.
Oh, that's disgusting. That would have been bad if they were able to like break down the door.
Yeah, that'd be not ideal, but so far we're doing good. Oh, can you check our yard? We might. Oh, never mind. We should have gotten one of our creatures back because they're not very close to delirium, and if we drew a land, we'd want to proc like to turn on the vacuum this turn, and
Yeah.
we missed getting like an extra creature. But we're still fine. We just send everything, play the gremlin, and next turn, if they don't have anything in their yard relevant, then we'll just get one of our creatures that time.
Okay. Another one? DJ Khaled.
Then we use the ghost. Yep. So our graveyard this time, probably the Fear of Lost Teeth instead. Because we don't care about hasting for one as much in the air as we do about creating a blocker for this Defiant Survivor.
They do not get haste. Cool.
Actually, wait, we don't play the land? I think maybe we can just attack with all three here. Because if they block, then we don't need to Ghost Vacuum yet. That might be a little greedy.
Yeah, I'm like, dude!
We have the land for Ghost Vacuum. And if they, yeah, right. So that, and then we can just get maybe another. Let's see. If
dude, if they have
it right now,
if they have artifact removal.
Yeah. So how many creatures are underneath it right now is the question.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you can just make it. It's probably fine. That's probably totally fine. And so you know how this is a good demonstration of like when you asked like okay, so what is a ghost vacuum doing? This is the idea, right? Because you had removal for all their creatures, and the game went long, and now you have a giant board that they don't have an answer.
Oh. Man. Okay. That was cool. Ah! I do not play at this level! I want to play at this level! Thanks for helping me, though. I have a lot to look at.
For sure. Oh yeah, Essential. Also, there's one other thing to consider there too is the what's that card? The one that we have in our deck. It gives -1/-1 to everything is a good answer to the Ghost Vacuum. But like that's gonna get us pretty much anyways, no matter what. So yeah, I don't think that one really matters too much. But yeah. Anywho, all right. Good luck with the rest of your draft. I hope things went well. And then if you have like more questions, feel free to just like, let me know the normals.
Thanks.
And I'm gonna take off and go eat food.
All right, enjoy your food. Thank you so much for all of that. That was very interesting. Yeah, there was just a lot going on there. So again, thank you. Thank you so much.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Cool.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. That is so much. Hold on, I just need to sit here and just like marinate a little bit on it. So just join me on that. Oh, out of that fancy plane was because of Ghost Vacuum. I don't think there was anything particularly greedy about that play. I think it just like optimized for everything. Which I guess it's like the difference between us. Yeah, he's a great communicator, Cam Wacky. Because I think the mindset that I've been having when I'm playing is to Because I would think about value too much sometimes when there's like valuable things, and then I would just like dirtle around trying to like maximize on the value, but we usually die before I even get to that fancy combo that I wanted. So then I started steering away from doing that type of stuff into just like, what is the most pragmatic thing right now? And I think that's actually got me very far on top of like being a little bit braver. Um, but now we have to go back to like maybe we meet a halfway point now where we start considering both value and pragmatism. That's all the things you missed out. Oh, I should stop yelling. I'm recording this too. Anyways.